Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where weekly Saturday morning sun pops on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal and our favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And this morning we watched Hellboy, Sword of Storms. I kept forgetting the name of this movie really up until today.
Yeah, I could see it. But now I'm thinking they missed a good opportunity of when those demons finally show up. Like, they missed the opportunity to play AC/DC's Thunderstruck. They should have done it. Because now that's all I can hear in my head while I'm picturing this movie.
But who suggested this to us?
This was suggested to us by David Bond via Twitter. So thank you, David.
Hey, thanks, David. So the movie Hellboy, Sword of Storms aired in 2006 based on, of course, Hellboy by Mike Mignola. This particular movie was created by Mike Mignola, Matt Wayne, and Tad Stones. Produced by Film Roman, Madhouse, DR Movie, and Revolution Studios. This is originally was a straight-to-DVD film, but the same year it also aired on Cartoon Network, or premiered on Cartoon Network, I guess. So for short synopsis, written by Daniel Joss Leary. I'm assuming it's Daniel Joseph Leary, but his middle name is like JOS period.
Well, that's weird. But you're Joseph, so let's just call him Joss. We'll go with that one.
Daniel Joss Leary wrote, Hellboy travels to Japan to fight an ancient demon.
Well, that's to the point as he could get, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Though most of Hellboy's fight wasn't even like, I don't think was even in this plane of existence, but
it was like
sure
ancient feudal fantasy Japan. I don't know. Like it was.
I like that. It was in fantasy Japan.
Fanapan, we'll call it.
Fanapan.
But who are some of the actors who played in this movie?
All right. So the voice of Hellboy was provided by Ron Perlman. And this is what's cool is they used a lot of for all the main characters, really, they used the actors or actresses that played them in the live action roles. So that's so cool. So Ron Perlman, obviously known for the live action roles in the Hellboy movies, also Sons of Anarchy, Hand of God. But he's done a lot of voice work, including Clayface and Batman the Animated Series, Curtis Stryker from Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, Slade from Teen Titans, The Lich from Adventure Time, and Bular from Troll Hunters.
Nice.
The voice of Liz Sherman was provided by Selma Blair, who was also Liz Sherman in the Hellboy movies, and is going to be playing the character of Harper Glass in in Another Life, which is a show that's coming out later this year. And then Abe Sapien, voiced by and played in the movies by Doug Jones, our buddy. We love Doug. And if you don't know him, he's usually covered in prosthetics. He was Mac Tonight, if anybody remembers that scary, like, Moon Man playing piano for the McDonald's commercials back in the 80s or whatever, or 90s. I don't know when that happened. He was Billy Butcherson from Hocus Pocus. He was the Fawn and Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth, the Ancient from The Strain, the Amphibian Man that got some action in The Shape of Water and that won an award. He's Saru from Star Trek Discovery. You've seen him a lot and have not seen him at the same time. So that's Doug, and Doug's the greatest human being on the planet. And I did just say human being, but I'm going to stand by it. And then lastly, Professor Kate Corrigan, voiced by Perry Gilpin, who is best known for playing Roz Doyle from Frasier. And there's plenty other voices in this movie. But man, like I went on IMDb and TV.com and behind the voice actors, and there's just not a lot of information about who all the others were voiced by. So that's a little disappointing, but I mean, it's so cool that we had such a cool cast. You know, three of the big names from the movies, which is awesome. And like, they did a great job.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that really stood out right away. Well, first of all, I'll say it in the marshmallows. It kind of ties in. So for a few tasty marks out of our big bowl of Hellboy cereal. So first of all, and this is kind of tying into what I was saying, David Hyde Pierce was offered the chance to reprise his role as the voice of Ape Sapien because he's the one who played him in the movie. But he felt that Doug Jones' voice should have been used in Hellboy from 2004, and he turned it down so that Jones would get the role.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's weird because, they just had Doug wear the suit, do the motions, even move the mouth, but then it was voiced over. It just happened to him several times. They did the same thing in that really
Pan's
bad
Labyrinth.
Fantastic Four movie.
The Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Rise of the Silver Surfer, yeah, they had Lawrence Fishburne voice him, but it was Doug's body. And yes, they did that with Pan's Labyrinth. He learned Spanish so that his mouth would move correctly, but they had somebody else speaking the voice. So
dub over it.
Yeah, it's weird to me. But I'm glad that he's getting a lot more action now, where he gets to actually voice and do the body acting and stuff. So it's cool. Go Doug.
Yeah, actually be himself.
Yeah.
So the name that the old man is carving into a cucumber is Murakami. Director Tad Jones says that this is a shout out to his friend, fellow animator Glenn Murakami.
Oh,
that's pretty
nice.
cool.
Little shout out there. That's cool.
And speaking of Tad Stones, this was co-produced, co-written, and directed by him, and he happens to be an animation veteran. He's best known as a creator of the popular Disney afternoon series Darkwing Duck.
Oh, cool. No, that's awesome.
And he also worked with Mignola on developing Atlantis: The Lost Empire into an animated series.
Oh, okay.
So Hellboy's fight with the flying heads is taken almost blow by blow from the short comic story Heads, which appeared in the graphic novel compilation The Chained Coffin and other stories. Also a Hellboy thing.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's something we'll touch on probably in a little bit. So let's just go ahead and jump into the movie, I guess. I mean, had you ever heard of this before?
No, I mean, I was aware that there was some sort of animated version of Hellboy, but I didn't know if it was a show, if it was a movie, or how many there were. The only thing I know is that the artwork for the covers of the movies look a lot like the comics, which I thought was pretty cool, but the actual movie itself really doesn't.
So we'll just start talking about the movie. I mean, I read the synopsis as vast as it was, the one that was written by Daniel Giles Leary. I mean, they kind of start off mid-mission. There's already something going on. They are after some kind of weird bat cult.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure exactly what was going on, other than they were fighting Hellboy was fighting a big old bat monster, while Liz and Abe were kind of in this temple, and we didn't see Hellboy right off the bat. And there's all these ancient Mayan-ish kind of zombies hanging out in there, and the bat.
Yeah, they're
creature.
not doing anything at first though.
Yeah.
Liz and Abe kind of trigger something. They trigger a trap, but it just kind of lowers these walls.
Yeah,
and then the zombies are still inanimate. So they're like, well, all right, well, that's good. And
but the Hellboy.
I liked Hellboy's entrance here, where he just comes crashing through the wall on the back of this giant bat.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
That was a good way to do it, yes. I do want to say real quick, so I'm not that familiar with the Hellboy comics. I've read a little bit, but I think I've only read maybe one or two trades. So I have a general feeling for what it's like. And I just got to say that I liked this version of Hellboy because, I mean, with the few that I read, this version of Hellboy seemed more like the comics than the movies did. I just really could not get into the live action movies.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you mean by it was more like the comics, I guess?
Well, I just I think in the movie he's a little more in the live action movie he seems a little bit more cocky and a little bit more and a lot more talkative. Where I feel like in this and in the comics, I feel like he's witty and sharp, but he's a lot more soft spoken. He doesn't talk as much, and it's usually a retort or a comeback to something else that happens rather than talking a lot himself.
So he's more the strong, silent type versus the really talkative, outgoing.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, and I liked that a lot about this film here, and I thought that was cool, and I enjoyed his character more for it. I think where, those parts where he's just reacting to something, when he first sees that kitsune fox, just standing there and he just kind of stares at it and he's like, can I do something for you? And that's pretty much it. Like, he doesn't say anything else. It just kind of leaves, and he doesn't even say anything else about it. He's just like, okay. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was something I kind of noticed. I haven't seen the movies in so long that I really had kind of separated my mind from it. So
Sure.
to me, it was kind of the same thing, but I guess he would have been more talkative in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get through this. They're during this battle, they're kind of having a lot of trouble, especially Liz and Abe, who are being overwhelmed by those zombies because they come to life after the bat kind of does some screech or cry for help or whatever after Hellboy's kind of beating it up. So in this, we see what's a little bit of a thread that happens throughout the film where Liz kind of in a very dark Phoenix or just Phoenix in general type fashion, she starts unleashing her pyrokinetic power to where her eyes kind of white over, and she's really just unleashing these flames to burn all of the zombies up, and then also the bat, and that's where she really starts like wrecking into it. So much to the point where she starts to kind of lose sense of herself and has to be calmed down in order to kind of get out of that zone.
Is that like a usual thing for her? Because I feel like in the live action movie, that was something that she went through too. Is that just like a consistent thing with her, or do you know?
I guess it's one. Well, I know it was in the live action movies as well, and maybe because this is still supposed to be like very fresh out of those movies,
Sure,
it's still kind of an ongoing thing. I don't know if that's like a constant thing in the comics or anything, because like you, I haven't really read many of the comics, but definitely in this movie, they're really pushing that a lot.
And then do you think that like and maybe you came across this doing your research and stuff like that, and I'm just full of asking questions that you probably can't answer, so this is fun for everyone.
Nice.
Do you think because they could never make a Hellboy 3 that this was kind of, because I know Guillermo worked on this as well. Do you think this was kind of like their, we can't make Hellboy 3, so let's just make a couple of the animated movies and stuff, and that's why they brought the cast in, so they could still play around as these characters and stuff?
That would be my initial idea, because otherwise I don't think they would have tried to bring the cast in, especially not the full cast.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Doug got some love in this too,
God, yes.
and they didn't just like give the voice back over. But I mean, I guess they did try to, but yeah, otherwise I think there's 3 of these. I know there was at least 2.
Yeah, I know of 2 for sure, because this one and another one got on our list, but I haven't heard if there's a third, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, so this, to your point, would probably be kind of the answer to, well, we can't get the full funding for a new movie, so let's at least continue the story in this fashion.
Yeah, that's cool.
And for a lot of people, and this is just some stuff I was reading as well, for a lot of people, Ron Perlman is Hellboy in the same way, the voice of Hellboy in the same way that
Mark Hamill and the Joker,
Kevin Conroy and Batman,
yeah.
The list goes on.
Yep.
So it's one of those where you hear that voice and you just kind of like, he plays a really good Hellboy. And even though he's not talking as much as you said, like what he does say, like really sticks. Like it feels like that's Hellboy.
Oh yeah. Like every time that he talks or he's on screen, like that scene is his, man. Like it's I don't know. I love this version of this character, and that's why I assume that this is the closest version to what the comics were like.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for sure, just from the couple that I read, but yeah, I enjoyed his character a lot in this. I also enjoyed Abe quite a bit. And I like that he has some very subtle humor to him, and some of it's more of just like not understanding things. But I like that, like missing a potential romantic moment and messing it up completely was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't care for Liz's character that much. I mean, there's some things I like about her. I think she's very powerful, which is cool. But I don't know, man. She's just kind of boring to me.
Yeah, I think there's kind of like I got kind of a Jubilee vibe from her.
Yeah,
where
same
it's like
here.
She's so fresh to the team and erratic that she's a little bit annoying even.
Yes.
And I think that it's one of those things that the longer she spends on the team and the more experience she gets, like she'll start to come into her own. But I have to kind of agree with you there that she wasn't really, if it weren't for her powers, like she could have been left out of this movie altogether. And I definitely wouldn't have minded.
To just kind of move forward here, there's a professor named Professor Sakai. He was going and checking out this like ancient like knife collection thing by this I guess not like a museum dude, but I mean some kind of collector of ancient artifacts and stuff. And there's a sword, which I assume, is the titular sort of storms, if you will.
Mhm.
And it is we kind of learn a little bit about the history of this sword, and that this sword is kind of possessed by these two demons of one of lightning, one of thunder, and
Well,
they
you're kind of you're leaving out the part before that where that university professor, like, he's reading that scroll, and the scroll is what initially gets him
Oh,
possessed by
yes.
the spirits of lightning and thunder.
That's right. I'm just skipping ahead and just move just moved along at a fast pace. No, you're right.
I felt we should at least bring that part up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he reads that scroll, the two demons possess him, and then he goes for that sword. Because they need that sword to be able to really like I guess be released in a physical sense, to where they don't have to possess him. And I like, as the movie goes along, that he becomes kind of like more distorted and just
Oh yeah,
crazy and
like,
stuff.
It's like he's getting bloated too.
Yeah.
Like, he was just a skinny, like, short little guy, and he starts turning into almost like the Hunchback or something.
Yeah, it was pretty
Like,
cool.
he starts looking real weird. He's like getting bloated with demon power, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But he was it weird to you that, or did it bother you at all, I guess, that these spirits were supposedly trapped in the sword, but they were still able to possess him?
Yes.
What did he read in that little scroll? Because the scroll looked like it was only 3 lines, but it looked like it sounded like he was reading forever. I don't know if he was just telling the story and then just happened to also read this thing that somehow released these spirits to possess him. Like, I didn't understand the dynamic there of how that was possible if they were trapped inside of that sword.
Instruction manual, maybe, on how to release them.
Yeah.
I don't know. But we did see like the origin of this stuff. There was a guy that wielded this sword a long time ago, and I guess he was wanting to marry this woman whose father was like, no thanks, not cool. But he went to go fight the demons, and he never came back. And in the meantime, the woman's father killed her.
Well,
Was that
okay, so that was the long and short of it, but you left out some details that I think are kind of important.
I don't like details, man.
Okay, so the story goes that this is just from memory, I'm trying to remember as I say it. So lightning and thunder, these demons were kind of harassing this area of Japan, this kingdom, and so this king, not a king, I don't remember what he was, but he offered them his daughter so that they would just basically leave his town alone. And this warrior, the samurai warrior who happened to be in love with his daughter, was like, I'm not going to let that happen. And so even after this leader made this promise to them of offering them his daughter, like, he told her to go hide in like this area, this temple or something. I can't remember where, but he goes and he fights lightning and thunder, the demons, with this sword of storms that has some kind of inscription on it that allows him to battle these. It's a spell of some sort that allows him to battle these gods, and he defeats them, which in turn traps them in the sword. And so all's well and good, but because of the leader's pride, he's like beseeches the gods to like turn this warrior into stone, then proceeds to kill his daughter because she has dishonored him by being with this man who made him break this promise he made.
So we should have watched this on Father's Day, is what you're saying. Because this guy,
Yeah.
Father of the Year.
Great dad.
Great dad.
Great dad.
And that statue, or what was that warrior? I mean, they assume, I think it's a statue, is still there in Japan now, in the modern times. Just throwing that out there because it may be important later. So there's like all kinds of the crazy stuffs going on, and we get to see a little bit of the agency and the new person in charge, at least in charge of them, which is Kate Corrigan, or whatever her name is. She's kind of like giving Hellboy and Liz and Abe their orders and stuff, and As soon as they return home from the one mission that they were on with the bat and stuff like that, and they are immediately being sent on another mission. Well, Hellboy's being sent on a mission, and then Abe and Liz are being sent somewhere else.
Yeah, like I think they were just kind of hanging out at the base because this was Hellboy's mission at first to go with Kate to try to figure out what was going on. Because this was like to investigate these earthquakes or something too, right?
Yeah, because there's these little earthquakes that were starting to happen, and the cause of those earthquakes was kind of because of those demons possessing Sakai. It's I don't know, like this part just seemed kind of convoluted in that it's just they piled a lot of things in there.
Well, here's what I think, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is that it was kind of confusing to me that, so, okay, the spirit's trapped in the sword, and maybe, like you were saying earlier, they just needed to get into their bodies instead of having to possess people. That's fine. But then, like, one of their goals also was to summon their dragon brothers, these other demons, I guess, and somehow they were still doing that, even though they were still trapped in that sword. So it seemed like they didn't need to get out of the sword at all. That was just
right.
They're just like, that would be really convenient if we could get out of here. But we don't need to. We're still doing everything that we want to do, even within the confines of this sword.
Yeah, so that is the other thing, and that's what's causing the earthquakes is that these dragons that are underground are starting to wake up.
And when you say dragons, though, you mean
tentacle monster?
Tremors.
That is not a dragon, bro.
They did not look like dragons. At first, I thought they were like octopi of some sort because it looks like tentacles. And then their heads come out and they're just some weird underground worm type things. Not what you would think of as a dragon at all.
No, not at all. Somebody lied to them. I did like the that one agent that just kept talking about how everything's dangerous. He was like a psychic and no one wanted to list him. Well, Hellboy was tired of him and he's just like, don't trust the umbrella. And
yeah, he's like, Hellboy's just like, man, I just hate psychics. Like, and Kate said something about like, well, they're useful sometimes, but he's like, yeah, but it's always too late. And that's funny because it actually comes up later. What he was saying was true. It just didn't really matter because it didn't really come up until way later.
When he gets to the, they go to the place where Sakai was and where the swords and everything were. Hellboy touches the sword and he's like transported into like this, I don't know, like back in time, but also into like an alternate dimension-ish kind of thing. I don't know, he ended up in Japan, like we were talking about earlier, and he encounters all kinds of things here. And what I liked here is a lot of these encounters are things based in like Japanese myth and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of cool. Like the Kappa. Which this was a scary Kappa, man. Like I've never seen a Kappa that looked like that.
Yeah, he wasn't as friendly turtle looking as much as he was like a demon with similarities to the Kappa.
Yeah, he was a demon turtle scary thing. But we got like the demon people who were basically just heads, but they needed those fake bodies. They got real sad when he threw the bodies.
That was
the
pretty
bottom
cool.
Of the lake.
They were like vampire type things, and I don't know enough about like the Japanese mythology to know what all of these were aside from the Kappa. Really,
yeah.
I don't know what the exact like folklore of that is, but I thought it was a really cool scene, especially when they're just like begging for their bodies back. And I wonder if he's just like really read up on all that and he's just like, oh, I know what they need, their bodies. I'm just going to tie them all to a weighted thing and put them at the bottom of this lake or whatever.
I think it's just funny, the idea that he talked with these people because he didn't realize they were demons. He went to sleep. He woke up in the middle of the night, walked into that room and it's just a bunch of headless bodies. And his immediate thing is, I better chain these together and drop them into the bottom of a lake because he does it with no context.
I know what you're talking about. That's always my idea when I see a headless body. It's got to go to the bottom of the lake.
I mean, while he's doing it, I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it makes like you said, there's no context to it, and he's a man of few words, so he just kind of does it. He's like, all right,
he doesn't explain why. He's just doing it. But yeah, it turns out there are a bunch of floating heads with flashlight eyes, and he beats them away with the stick.
Well, yeah, because their idea was to eat him, and they start trying to, but as heads, they can't really do anything. They're just kind of like gnawing at him.
They can't hold him down or anything. So
yeah, but they're also like not immortal, but they're like invincible in the sense that like they can't be killed by just physical means. So sunlight is what did it.
The effect was cool. And they're like green, fiery skulls once they started to die. That was cool.
Yeah, I really liked that scene, actually. That was one of my favorite ones.
I did too. That definitely stuck with me. That's the one I'm going to remember for sure. He also runs into a spider lady out in the middle of the forest. Well, I like just how nonchalant he is. He just doesn't care about anything. He's not like, he's not easily impressed by anything.
And he's not like scared of it either. He might like react like, oh, or something, but he's not going to like freak out. And this one was a little... as cool as I think it could have been. The setup was good. The execution was cool. But the end of it wasn't that great for me, the spider part. Because it's like she's just chasing after him and then he just runs through a couple trees and she gets trapped behind those trees. And instead of going around, she just like screams and that's it. Like that's pretty much how that spot ended. She didn't die or anything.
Yeah, there was actually a couple encounters with these monsters and stuff where he didn't defeat them. He just kind of got away. But I mean, it kind of makes sense with him because he's just like, you know, of the mindset, like, man, I don't have time for this. Like, I just want to get to where I'm supposed to be going.
That's true. I guess his mission is not necessarily to slay these demons.
Yeah,
they're just in
like,
his
who
way.
cares?
Yeah. And the cap one was pretty cool because I like how the man was there telling him to like, you know, empty the water out of its head.
Yeah.
And once he tells him that, he's like, all right. And then he just starts like whooping on the cap and it's awesome to watch.
That cracked me up when he finally like gets out. So he gets so much of the water off the top of his head because the cap has got like a little bowl thing on top of its head.
Yeah.
And if you can drain all the water out, then apparently it's got to tell you, you can ask it a question and it has to answer. So he gets a little bit of info out of it, but it's like shriveling up. And man, I started cracking up because it shrivels up so hard and he just starts banging it against a rock. Just kind of like, huh.
Yeah. Trying to get it to wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, come on. That was good.
I like where he held him upside down by his legs and just dumped the rest of the water out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he asks just a couple of questions like how he can get out of this land or back to his friends or whatever and why they want this sword and whatnot.
Yeah.
He gets a little bit of information, nothing like too critical, but something that they keep pushing for is to break the sword because with the sword broken, the demons, well, their spirits already escaped as we said, but I guess their bodies can come out once the sword breaks.
Yeah, but that's like the catch, which I thought this was cool. He finds out the only way for him to get back to his world is to break the sword. But like you said, breaking that sword will release those demons. Yeah. And then those demons, once released, are going to be jerks. And they're going to wake up that eyeball dragon, that was the eye dragon.
That was the exact way the text read in the scriptures. Once these demons get out, they're going to be jerks.
Yeah. They're not going to, they have no manners and they're not going to be hospitable to anyone. So no hospitality with these demons. In the meantime, Abe and Liz are going out to, they're in an airplane going over the ocean, and Sakai is able to summon this huge storm that takes the plane down, and they crash underwater, and Abe is trying to get Liz out, but she's going to drown, so he breathes into her mouth. This is the romantic thing I was talking about that he just didn't get, because he's able to convert the water through the oxygen through his gills and blow it into her mouth so that she can breathe, gets her up to the water, and then later she kind of brings that back where she's just like, you know, so you kind of saved me and the whole like breathing kiss thing. And then he says something about it being like basically like a burp. Like he's basically burping air into her, and she's like, ah. And I'm like, oh, poor Abe just doesn't understand. He just ruined his own moment.
That kind of brings us back. I mean, at that point, they're kind of stranded on this rock just out in the middle of nowhere. And it happens to be a spot where one of the dragons starts coming. Well, one of the worm dragons, whatever they are. We get to see her start to use her pyrokinetic powers again and start to be a little overwhelmed by them. But what kind of bothered me about it was that we don't really get any kind of like I guess she doesn't freak out to the point that I thought she would, where it just gets out of control. Like she just kind of starts burning it away, and then at one point it grabs Abe, and then it seems like she kind of gets control over it a little bit more. I guess because her friend's in peril, and so just kind of like directly attacks its face and starts to burn it. At no point does she really like kill it, but she's at least keeping it at bay for the time being.
Yeah, I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of, I don't know how to say this and sound like I know what I'm talking about. I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of point within this movie to her not having control over her powers, you know? Like there wasn't a lot of payoff or anything with it. It was just kind of like she gets a little bit of a handle on it.
The fact that it was kind of like, oh, she didn't have control at all right here, and then she kind of gets a little bit of control once she's protecting Abe. It's like, that's kind of cool, but we don't really get like a point. It's a really soft turn. It's not like a hard, sharp turn where like she's about to accidentally kill somebody or anything like that. We don't get any kind of really dramatic scene that she turns from.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I was kind of like, I was super offended. No, I'm kidding. I was just kind of like, oh, all right, whatever.
It was very ho-hum, that part. And I think like maybe it was just like not enough was written for her character in that, but they wanted to include her because she was part of the movies and the comics and everything. But they just didn't know exactly what to do with her.
Yeah, I got that vibe.
And or they just didn't have enough time to fully flesh out what they wanted to do originally.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe. I just felt like they didn't. And like her character wasn't really going anywhere very fast, I feel like.
Yeah.
So back in Japan, Hellboy accidentally, he gets tricked into breaking the sword, actually. Like I
really like this part, actually. Yeah.
He's fighting some baddies, and this one that he goes to strike down, I guess was kind of like a hologram or something, or just disappears. But one thing that's repeated a few times too is that only the sword bearer or the sword carrier or whatever can break the sword. So we think that they're talking about Hellboy because he's the one carrying it. When the thing he's fighting disappears, it strikes the statue of the original carrier and the blade breaks. And I'm like, oh, like they were being literal, like the guy that originally carried it. He's the carrier. So I thought that was cool.
That was cool because it's like, how else would you get Hellboy to willingly do that? I mean, they're trying to get him to do it just by saying like it's the only way you're going to see your friends again, but he's still holding tight and he's still like, you know, not falling into that trap yet. But him having to fight this Oni, this giant demon, thinks he's about to land the killing blow on it, and then like you said, it just disappears and it happens to strike right where the statue is. And I thought that was a really cool way for that to happen because there's no other way they really could have done it. I thought it was a clever way for the enemies to have to formulate that.
Because he breaks it. He ends up back in the present. Also, there, just to throw this character out, there's been this Kitsune Fox that's kind of led the way for him every once in a while, like kind of helped him get to where he needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of that, Abe and Liz walk through this passage on this island at one point, and they find this older woman. And just later, it's just revealed that they're the same person. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like a spirit guide.
Yeah, basically. And the fox was cute. I just like foxes in general. Anytime there's a fox, I'm going to have a fun time. But what I thought was interesting was, so the whole time, the animation is pretty solid of this. Like, I liked the animation style. It reminded me a lot of when we watched Jackie Chan Adventures.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it evokes that idea quite a bit. But when the demons, you know, end up getting released because the sword is broken, they leave Sakai's body, they create this big storm, right? But then they switch to like, from this animation style, they didn't animate it the same way. They gave us some really bad CG storm clouds and it looked stupid. I was like, oh, come on. But then we get a pretty sweet fight between Hellboy and the Demon Brothers. And the way that they get defeated was just BA, and I liked that a lot. And there's also this really funny moment because I think it was the Thunder one. So he fights with this giant hammer, you know, and there's this one part, Hellboy gets a hold of the hammer he throws it and it goes through this building, and then the guy just kind of stops fighting and he just kind of looks over like towards that window and he's looking all sad like, oh. And Hellboy's like, just go get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great. That was see, it was like the moments like that are why I really enjoyed him in this movie.
I thought it was kind of interesting the way that he did finish him off using both halves of the broken sword. I was like,
that
well,
was
I didn't know
cool.
you I didn't know you could do that, but you know, they're playing kind of fast and loose with a lot of this, so
Yes. But I thought that was cool. Yeah, he gets a piece of the sword in each hand and stabs them both at the same time and does his thing, man. And,
if I'm
and
being
they're defeated.
if I'm being real technical about it, like only one half of the sword had that inscription imbued
True.
on it. So I don't and maybe it doesn't matter. And maybe the whole sword was blessed with it just because of that. I'm just being real nitpicky right now. But I just thought it was a strange way to do it because it's like, well, if the sword didn't have to be whole in the first place, like why did breaking it break them out? It was just a strange way.
You're
I was
asking
hoping
too many smart questions.
I know, but I was wishing that there was some way they would have like reforged it together and then did it.
Sure.
Or at least like after he captures them, then kind of melds it together or has Liz like fuse it together. You know, that would have been a really cool thing to do and a good way to use Liz as well.
Oh, that would have made so much sense. We should have written this movie for them. Honestly, we would have done a better job. That actually is really cool. I like that idea a lot. The eye dragon goes back to sleep underground and the earthquakes stop.
They just got sleepy and went back to sleep. They could
It's like, I'm just going to shut my eye for a while.
It was one of those things where like when someone invites you to a party, you're like, who else is going to be at the party? And they don't see anybody you want to, you know, hang out with. So you're like, I think I'm just going to stay home.
Yep.
So that's what the dragons did. They just wanted to be with their brothers. But since they went back to the swords, they're like, yeah, I'm good. I've got some errands to run. So they just retreated back to the underworld or wherever they were.
He's got the crock pot on and, you know, he doesn't want the food to overcook. I mean,
no, of course.
It's been on heat for a while because it's, you know, it's finished the actual cooking part. It's on warm, but it can still get the meat can get too dry.
On top of all that, like after you think like, okay, it's over now, like that's the resolution. Then it comes into a really cool part that I thought was an interesting addition to it. So it's like, this is almost like a continuation where it's like a recurring thing that would keep happening. The story would have continued that I had spoken about earlier with the father killing the daughter because she dishonored him. I guess he's a lord of whatever town. And so the spirit of this lord possesses the psychic guy and the spirit of the daughter possesses Kate. And then so Kate's like down, like she's kneeled over and the father or the psychic guy comes up and is, I guess, going to pull out a sword to decapitate her in the same way, or at least kill her in the same way. And then that's when Hellboy earlier he had broken or was it right then that he broke the statue of the hero?
No, the statue of the hero got broken during the fight with the demons.
Okay, that's right, because he threw half of it at one of them.
Yeah, as you would.
Yeah, yeah. What was interesting was like, and as soft-spoken as Hellboy is, like, I thought that was a really good way for them to almost like Silent Bob the whole thing, where he just comes out with some like wisdom.
Oh yeah, I like that too. Yeah, the spirit of that warrior comes over and
the spirit of the warrior comes over a little bit afterwards, or like, well, not even afterwards. Like Hellboy, the spirit of the warrior comes over and kind of prevents it from happening initially, but then Hellboy comes in and just like, hey man, like I don't remember what he said exactly, but basically like, hey, if you keep making this, like if you keep killing for this reason, this is going to keep happening. Like this is going to keep recurring. So basically like forgive and forget and just let's just all move on.
Or we're calling Child Protective Services.
Yeah. The Lord just feels like shamed and he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he gets that little pouty look on his face like, but I want to kill my daughter. Oh. So the warrior spirit and the lady spirit get to embrace and they all disappear and the day is saved.
And they live happily ever after, I assume.
Well, they're dead, so.
They stay dead happily ever after.
Yeah.
It looks like it's about time we slap some horns on our own little Hellboys, a.k.a. our inner kids, and send them to join up with the BPRD, then see what they thought of the movie Hellboy, Sword of Storms.
This movie was pretty cool because Hellboy got to go to Japan and fight all these demons, but he's just like, Whatever, who cares, because he's too cool for those stupid demons. So I gave this cartoon 4 bowls of Old Lady Fox cereal out of 5. This movie was pretty okay. The voice acting was spot on, especially since they brought our friend Doug Jones in. The action sequences were pretty well done, and parts of the story were very engaging. On the flip side, though, the animation was just passable for me, but nothing stellar, and the story seemed like it was trying to do too many things in a short time frame, without any real payoff. Overall, I'd give Hellboy Sword of Storms 4 big bowls of pyrokinetic pop cereal out of 5, and even with its shortcomings, I'd still say give it a shot. But one very important life hack I took from this movie was that burping into other people's mouths helped them breathe underwater. So next time Mom gets on to me about belching, I'll let her know I'm just practicing valuable life-saving skills.
You know, and that's why back when I was a teenager, I was briefly in this phase where I was trying real hard to be a lifeguard at this water park called Raging Rivers. But I just kept burping into everybody's mouths, and they told me that wasn't real CPR. But now I've got proof that they were wrong.
I was going to say, you were ahead of the game. Like,
I was ahead of the game. I was just like a fish man. You know, I'm so adept at saving people from the water that I knew exactly what to do, as if I was a creature from the water. So I'm just going to take this knowledge back with me sometime, and I'm just going to take over the place, and I will teach others to burp inside of mouths to save each other.
if the qualifications for being a fish man are burping constantly, then
I'm in.
You definitely pass the test. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that the audience doesn't really hear all your burps because I cut so many of them out, but it's at least one every minute.
I am the kind of like the young embodiment of Rick Sanchez, and that without being smart, I just burp when I talk a lot. It's just like that level. So before you have to edit more burps, do you have any final thoughts on Hellboy Sword of Storms?
Yeah,
that's the name.
You got
Okay.
it. Yeah. I thought it was I think this is a good like accompaniment to probably more so the comics than it is the movie. It's got the characters carried over from the movie. Yeah, but to your point, Hellboy is more like his comic version. So depending on your preference of Hellboys, whether you like the really outgoing, like talkative one or the really soft-spoken, like stoic one, I like the movies too, so I'm kind of in a different ballpark than Chris here, but you can't really go wrong either way, but depending on your preference, you might really like this movie because of that, or it might fall a little short for you also because of that. But I think mainly the only drawback to this movie for me was just the inconsistency in the story, not inconsistency even so much as just like lack of resolution to a lot of things that they had started in the story. Like there's the whole Liz having control of her fire thing. Then there's the whole Liz and Abe having that small romantic entanglement where it's like, was there anything to that? Was that just a one-off joke? Like just to get him to say that he burps into people's mouths? Like, I don't know. I really don't know whether a lot of these threads needed to even be put in or whether they were just kind of there as filler. But otherwise, I think it's a fun film. You should definitely check out if you like Hellboy franchise at all. I'm curious to see the other movies to see how they hold up to this. This was their first animated one, so it might have just been kind of a warm-up thing. This one, it's above average. It's not fantastic, but it's also not bad.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. Like I said before, I like this better than I like the live action movie. The live action just felt a little campy to me, and I just love this version of Hellboy way better. And I think that the Hellboy franchise lends itself to animation really well because there's just so much more stuff they could do, and the fact that they were able to keep the cast from the movie, the live action movie, to do it is really cool. So overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I am very interested in seeing the other movie or movies. So I'm looking forward to hitting the other one on our list. And I don't know that they have one, but I feel like this would make a cool, weekly cartoon if they ever had the capacity to do it. I like the idea of this as a series, but until that point, I'm looking forward to watching the other movie. And before we move on, I have 2 5-star reviews to read for you folks on Apple Podcasts, I think is what it's called now. It's not iTunes anymore. Get with the times, Joseph. Come on.
Oh, I was not with the times, but now I am. Thank you.
So this first one is from Giraffe of Betrayal, which...
Wait, hold on. Giraffe of Betrayal?
Yes.
Okay, make sure. Go on.
Like a giraffe that has somehow betrayed you and your family.
Oh yeah, no, that's most giraffes. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're evil. This it starts out all of the nostalgias. That's the name of this review. Hey guys, your show is a lot of fun. I grew up with a lot of similar memories to the hosts, as we seem to be roughly the same age. There are a lot of, oh yeah, I remember that moments as the guys delve into the shows. It's nice to hear their perspectives, as well as their inner children. I appreciate your general open-mindedness towards shows that some might just dismiss due to bias. Keep up the good work. And then I won't read all the rest of this part, but he suggests a cartoon for us, and we are going to, and I'll go ahead and say what it is, but that is Pepper Ann from the 1990s.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I know of it, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
I don't know if I've ever watched it, but I remember the song.
No. And then our second 5-star review is from A. Munn, and it's titled Alan Gregory. And it says,
Let's see where this goes.
so I watched all 7 episodes. Oh my God, this show is horrible. However, love the show. Can't wait for next episode. I would assume referring to our, we'll go Alan Gregory being horrible. Our show is loved. It's loved, and they can't wait for the next episode.
Man, I sure hope so.
Yes, I agree, though. Alan Gregory was pretty horrible.
So what was the second guy's name?
A. Munn.
A. Munn.
Yeah.
So thank you, A. Munn, and what was it? Giraffe
of Betrayal.
Okay, I was going to say Giraffe of Betrayal. Thank you, guys.
I love that name.
That's awesome. I'm glad that people understand our references. It makes me feel less old, or at least equally old to other people.
I mean, we're old. I mean, if you compare us to like what probably half, if not the majority of our audience is, we're probably old. So
what I really like about the review he gave is that he really kind of noted the fact that we kind of go in with open minds to these cartoons that would normally have biases to them.
Yeah.
Like out of these cartoons that would quote unquote be for girls or whatever. Some of them were just really fun. So
dude, some of them have been the best ones.
Totally, yeah. So
not looking at Winx Club, but
no. But I appreciate his open-mindedness to our open-mindedness. How about that?
Yeah.
I also appreciate the mutual dislike of Alan Gregory. So there.
Yes. Thank you to David Bond for suggesting this film to us, and thank you to Giraffe of Betrayal and A. Munn for your very kind reviews, and we're definitely going to add Pepper Ann to the list.
Giraffe of Betrayal is such a great name. I just want to know the story behind it. Like how...
Yeah.
Are you just a really tall guy who is known to betray others?
I don't know. I just don't know. It's like the Starscream of the zoo world. You know, it's just... it's constantly betraying the lions and other folks.
That giraffe that can turn into a jet plane. You know.
It's true. Oh, you know.
But yeah, thanks, David, for suggesting it. It was good to jump into the animated versions of Hellboy, and I am curious to watch the next one too, which I know you also suggested. Is that true?
Yes, he did suggest another one that's on the list.
So we'll get around to that one eventually too.
Yeah.
But for now, it looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
The Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3. Submitted via Instagram by The Monster Mailman.
Oh, cool.
I guess, is this the third Adventures of the Super Mario Brothers?
Is it
like that they add 3 to the end of it? I know it's based on the third game, but as a title for a cartoon, adding the 3 at the end of that is just kind of silly. But
yeah, I agree with you there. But is there any subtitle to Super Mario Brothers 3, the game, or is it just Super Mario Brothers 3? Because otherwise,
Super Mario Brothers 3.
They have nothing to go off of. What else are they going to say?
They have nothing to go off of, so they got to go for it. But yeah, so this was suggested by the Monster Mailman, who is also NJ Horror.
Oh yeah, previously known as.
I have so much trouble saying that word. Horror.
NJ Horror. NJ Horror.
Horror. Oh, that just reminded me. Master Howard. God. Okay, but dude is very, very cool. He's messaged us a few times on Instagram. We've had a few chats. He listens to our show a lot on his mail route, like on Saturdays when he's delivering his mails and stuff. He'll go back and listen to our old episodes and all that good stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that dude, you brought a tear to Joseph's eye. I can hear it falling down his cheek right now.
Yeah, we're serving the mail system. So next time in New Jersey, you get your mail at the proper time. Remember to thank us.
Yes, thank us.
Yeah. I guess thank him first, but then thank us.
No, just us.
Just us. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but I'm very much looking forward to this episode. And for those of you, if you don't know, if you go to the Nerd Sloth YouTube page, Joseph and I covered the first Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon on YouTube. That is not available on our regular podcast here. You have to go to YouTube for that one because it was a live action little April Fool's Day fun that we did. Like, was that last year that came out, or was that the year before?
That was like the year before, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah. I think you might have been right. I don't know, but it's in there somewhere. So go check that out. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm choking on my water. I'm Chris, and I guess I'm not an amphibian man.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerd Sloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.